Angelus turns. One of the things that I mean, I think about Starlight narratively, but I also think about Starlight in my life is like regret. Like, um, what if the last thing you did with somebody was argue with them? Or what if you didn't get to say I love you to somebody who um usually would, or stuff like that. And then you just fucking die. What if when you just die and the last thing and that happened with Buffy, with Jenny.
Oh
With the
yeah.
last thing she was doing was like, I don't care. You lied to us. You did horrible stuff because, as it turns out, Jenny Calendar is actually a Romani
Yana
plant
Calderage.
named Yana.
Yana Calderage.
Yeah, she reveals to me, and she explains that she is the one who gave, or not her, but it's her people who gave Angel his soul. And that she
so
was watching him just in case.
That I was disappointed by, because first of all, they finally reveal that Yana is Yana, so we know that there's a Romani here, and we finally have somebody who can get them to stop saying the fucking G word, and she never does.
I don't know. It's like,
I mean, it's the 90s. Maybe that's what I just need to keep saying whenever something shitty happens, like where people, that's a slur. That's an actual slur. It's a slur for a group of people, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a person of color, or if it's just a general thing where some people really don't like slurs being used. But I personally, unless it's something that's like reclaimed by a group of people and the group of people are using it among their group, don't like slurs. Stop that shit.
I think
it's diminutive and it's gross.
I think that has been reclaimed by some members of the Romani community,
but it's just
because
kind of like
I know that. I think it's exactly like
I'm allowed to say, but I'm not gonna say right here because a lot of you ain't allowed to say it, and I don't want to encourage you.
I think it's completely like the N-word, and I think
lots of people have reclaimed the N-word. A lot of black people really hate it, and that's perfectly within their right. And
but if you're not actually Romani, I don't think you're allowed to say it.
If you're not Romani or of some other clan of travelers, there's different ethnic groups. You can't specifically say just Romani because the Romani are the group that are, I guess, most popular, and they're the group that they refer to in Buffy. And I didn't even remember that they were specifically Romani. I just assumed they were because of like that's usually who the G word is referring to, and also there's like some hints about their culture and stuff is similar to Romani culture. And I didn't remember that in season 1 he literally says it was Romani.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why don't you just keep calling them Romani then? Like, you just said it. You don't have to say the G word anymore because you said Romani. You can just refer to them that way. But I guess that's kind of how it was the 90s.
I think the G word is just like one of those power words. Like,
it's so overused in culture that I think people just don't. Product placement. I just realized we've been product placementing.
Okay, well.
We've been placing products. You can only see Jamaica out of many one people on this. Yeah, by Jamaica. It just says Jamaica out of many one people. But oh no, there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
There's, if you come to Jamaica and you go anywhere, there's like still a little bit of juice in the cup. I don't want to spill it.
Yeah.
By Island Grill. It's actually just really good food, guys.
Is there a subliminal imagery working?
It's like not subliminal anymore. It got
liminal?
It got liminal.
Yeah.
It got bliminal. I was about to say bliminal. Thanks for saying. Proud to be Jamaican. Like, it's just Jamaica all over this freaking cup. Oh my god. Except for the square where it's like Coca-Cola. I have product placement on my product placement.
We live in Jamaica, by the way.
In case you didn't guess.
In case that
I think I have like a yellow Jamaica t-shirt on the bed somewhere that I could just whip out and I'd be like, Jamaica. There's like always a lot of clothes and blankets and shit. Like, there's extra blankets on it today. Because we're parts of a film critiquing watching type group, What do we
Part of a
call
film
it?
club.
A film club?
Yeah.
Okay, we're part of a film club, and we're going through a month where we're just like throwing blankets on the floor and watching, because it's like nostalgic movies and shit. We've gone completely off topic. We derailed, but it's okay because we're like past 20 minutes, so nobody's watching anymore.
Speaking
Of nostalgic stuff.
No. Speaking of Jamaicans.
Are we gonna talk about Kendra?
We can talk about Kendra.
Because I mean, we're already talking about people who got fridged, so why not?
I want to talk about Buffy. I mean, when Buffy meets Kendra, she meets the idealized reflection of herself.
Yeah.
And they're always like herself in the role of Slayer and not herself as like what she would want to be probably in terms of
She resents the fact that she's a Slayer for most of for all of season 1 and most of season 2. She doesn't fully respect or accept her role until like late season 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's probably mostly after Kendra arrives and leaves, because it's who you are, you know. You talk about it like it's like a job.
Like it's a job.
It's a job, but it's not.
It's
who you are. But yeah, Kendra is like this perfect Slayer who's been slaying since she was God knows how young and training for
without Slayer powers, by the way, because those powers aren't going to kick in until the last Slayer dies, right?
Mm-hmm. And you don't know for sure if you're gonna be the one that's called. I mean, that's a thing that you don't know yet.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry to spoil that for you.
But
you don't fucking know.
That's a really fucked up system. But I'm not gonna talk about that right now. It's just Buffy.
I'm just thinking that there has to be like hundreds of girls all over the world who are actively training, and it could just like skip them. They could be like 27, and
there's probably a couple still in Jamaica.
How many are in one place at a time? That's another good question. Like, are there like... I mean, some of this stuff is addressed in season 7, but also a lot of it isn't. Even in the comics, where they go even further into this stuff with the Slayers and the fact that there's a lot of potentials everywhere, they just don't address a lot of shit, and it bothers me, but we'll like get to that. Will you read the comics?
Yes. Yeah.
Because he reads comics, so... I figure. If he's enjoying the series, then he'll probably read the comics, and I think you're enjoying it by now.
But like, I keep on thinking of not metaphorical, but like the symbolism, like all the things that are happening to Buffy have like a figurative version. So it's like Buffy meets an idealized version of herself as the Slayer, right? She meets her, she talks to her and interacts and is reassured about her role and about the fact that she is a Slayer. That's who she is. And then that Slayer gets killed. She gets hypnotized and killed. So she sees the representation of the perfect version of her, and then that perfect version of her gets killed, because that's what the job is.
No, but I mean, it's that, but it's also that perfect version of her gets killed because that perfect version of her, like, there's this thing with Kendra's development that I love, which, okay, two things. One, Kendra's death bothers me a lot, not just because she's getting fridged. Like, we'll talk about the whole fridging thing because, like, Kendra and Jenny get fridged. But Kendra's death bothers me because I actually think that the entire season 3 Faith plot could have been done with Kendra.
Yeah.
Like, I have this whole thing where I don't think you and I have discussed it before, but I have this whole thing with Kendra where I just think Kendra could have gotten into a really dangerous situation, and then you know what, Buffy, you were right to begin with, fuck this job, and gone completely off the rails, and turned into...
She could have gone AWOL.
Yeah, she could have turned into the Faith character. And that would have been a really interesting development because it would have been like a super fall from grace. Because she would have gone from being the idealized, perfect version of what a Slayer is supposed to be to the worst possible version of a Slayer. And while Faith's development through the series is one of my favorite character developments that we get to see, because I love every bit of character development in this series that involves a truly horrible character becoming a great person, at the same time, I would have loved to see it start out as amazing, terrible, amazing again, and we don't see that at all. And also, like, it would have been just great to have a developed black character anywhere in the series.
And Kendra is such a great character, like, just to make her, seeing her come back to help Buffy and them fight is just like, yay! I like seeing her. I like seeing how she's interested. Don't get me wrong, I like Faith a lot.
Yeah.
It's just I also want to see more black.
And then there's something so unique about Kendra that you just don't get. Like, it's not just the fact that she's black. It's not just the fact that she's fake Jamaican. It's also there's this uniqueness in the fact that she really believes so strongly and religiously about what she's doing, and you just don't get another Slayer like that, really. So, yeah, more Kendra. But not any more Kendra. We don't get any more Kendra. But the second thing that bothered me about Kendra's death is that it's like a direct result of her becoming like this halfway point between like what she was before and being like Buffy.
Yeah, because she starts to loosen up a bit and she understands that Angel means something to her and that he's different somehow. I mean, he's just a filthy vampire, really. But he's different to her. But he's different somehow
to Buffy.
And that's good enough.
Yeah, basically. Like, if Kendra had remained who she was at the beginning of the series, then she would have just been like, I don't care. I'm going with you. Like, she'd just been like, if you want your friends to be protected so bad, you fucking protect them. They're not my friends. I'm gonna go kill the vampire. I don't trust you to do it. You know, like, she would have been in a different place than she was when we did What's My Line. But she developed in What's My Line Part 2. And she became a little bit more loose and a little bit more friendly and a little bit more willing to help people directly and not just kill the vampires. And I think that's actually the reason why she stayed back. And that's why she died, because of her character development, which is problematic, because it's just like, if characters become better or more interesting people, they also die.
I was about to say if they're black, but
I don't know. It happens to white characters too. Okay. Not that it doesn't mainly happen to black characters, or it mainly happens to women. It also happens to queer characters a lot. But yeah, it's a trope. It's a weird trope where your character development, you developing into a more open person, or you developing into a more assertive person might be the very reason why you end up dead. It's a weird trope.
Also, it's everything that happens after Angelus, like, feels like a continuation of the whole sex is bad thing, like, for Buffy, because it's like everything that Angelus is my responsibility, basically.
Yes.
Because I have the gall to bone him when I thought we seemed completely, when there was no reason for me not to think that this was the perfect time and we were both ready and happy and in love. Also,
because it's not like she continues doing that after he gets his soul. I mean, like, once she realized that's the consequence, she's just like, yeah, that's not worth it. But she didn't know. So it's not fair for her to be blaming herself, and that's the thing that I have to appreciate about, like, Giles in this situation. All of them actually do this, except maybe Xander. Xander's still awful. But Xander's just, like, slut shame, maybe? But Giles, Buffy says, this is all my fault. And Giles is just like, no, it's not. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't know. You thought you were ready. You did the thing. That's perfectly fine. The fact that he happened to become evil isn't really your fault. You know, which it's not.
She didn't even know that was the thing that was going to happen because it's kind of preposterous. Because even worse, it's connected to like having ultimate happiness.
Yeah, it's not necessarily sex that turns Angel evil.
That just happens to be when he's feeling the utmost happiness, which is it's not an indictment on people who enjoy sex or anything like that.
It's just that it's kind of just coincidental that it just so happened that after having sex he was just in a really happy place. And honestly, I feel like there are other ways that they could have written it so that Angel and Buffy are happy together. But that's how they did it, and it becomes like a running joke that sex makes Angel lose his soul, but that's just not how it works. So, I mean, anyway, speaking of Angelus is a really interesting character to me, because he is nothing like Angel. Oh my god, because I feel like David Beans, David Borealis.
Phenomenal.
I know that his name is Boreans, but I less know it because of Angel, and I mostly know it because of Kingdom Hearts.
Who does he play in Kingdom Hearts?
He plays Leon, which makes perfect sense because Leon is just Angel. Squall.
Okay.
But yeah, we got distracted by Kingdom Hearts talk. But Angel is different from Angelus. Like, really different, and it makes me think that David must have been having a lot of fun playing this character. Like, sometimes you just watch an actor go, and they're clearly just having so much fun with it. And I feel like that's David with Angelus, because Angel is so broody that it's kind of hard to have fun with this character. Mm-hmm. I think he still tries, because Angel's way too cool for words. And I think that if you're actually, like, parodying yourself, then you can have a lot of fun with that. But, Angelus is just, like, letting loose, and that's really great to watch.
He's not even he's kind of conniving. He's
conniving, he's pretty conniving. I mean, his thing is mostly just, like, he's just, like, all of the evils.
Also, his thing is, David Banner's, fuck your beach. Like, everything is just, with him and Spike, it's just him going,
oh my god, yeah.
It's just him going, oh,
by the way,
Drusilla, my penis has been inside you at some point. Isn't that's so interesting? And, like, Spike is just sitting down. At this point, Spike is in a wheelchair, by the way.
One of my favorite moments of Spike in season 2, and Spike has so many, even in the wheelchair, especially in the wheelchair, is when in I Only Have Eyes for You, when they're doing the whole, the Angel spends a good amount of the episode going, Drew, don't you love me so much? Because he gets there, this pretty mansion with these night blooming flowers, and plenty of windows so all the sunlight can kill us, and like Angel just has Drew hanging over him for like the whole episode, and there's just a point where Spike looks like he's gonna cry, and Angel and Drew leave, and Spike gets out of the wheelchair, and he kicks it. And I wonder if James Marsters tripped a bunch of times and they're just outtakes of that we never get to see, that he just like tripped over the wheelchair, because he looks like he's about to trip as he's kicking the chair. But how long has he been able to stand up?
That was actually a really great reveal.
It was a great reveal. Because they don't even hint at it even vaguely before that. It's just a thing that happens.
They don't hint at it, but it's one of those things where after it happens, you're just like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Because he's just
been waiting.
Yeah. He's just put up with it like this whole time.
Which means he has a really strong will, because it's like he could
Where has this will been for like all of the other seasons?
Yeah, because he could just do whatever. He could just do whatever he wants
It's
to, like
really
up on
funny.
top of cravings and whatever.
It's really funny because when Spike first shows up, Angel goes, no, he's just gonna like rip the town apart. He's just gonna keep going until everything in his path is destroyed. And that requires a lot of dedication, a really strong will, and like a lot of dedication, a really strong will, and
I don't know.
he has to be like motivated and stuff. And like you don't really see this with Spike generally, because Spike is just kind of like, I'm bored now, I'm just gonna stop.
Cat people.
Yes, like a cat people. And that's a thing that Spike, like Spike demonstrates sometimes, where it's like clearly he has the will to wait for something or to keep going for something, but for the most part he's just kind of like, I got bored and I decided to like fuck up my whole plan.
Yeah, basically, because that's what happened with him and the Anointed One. Where he's like, hey, listen, do what I say, and Spike's like,
okay,
I don't really, I mean, sure.
But, and then like afterwards he's just like, actually I don't like you. I want to just fuck around. I might kill you, maybe. Yeah. But Angel's really different from Angelus, and he's a lot of fun as a character. Like he's really, really expressive, which Angelus is really expressive, which Angel isn't. Which is interesting because you'd think the more emotional, more honest, more soulful character would be more expressive, and the evil character might be like more darker and kind of straight-faced. And but
Angelus talks so much.
Yeah, Angel is like 2 words all the time, kind of Oz like it that way, where he doesn't say much, and when he does, it's usually something kind of deep.
Is there a thing where he and Oz have a conversation and it's like hilarious?
Do he and Oz ever? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think you ever really get to see them, because like the best time for that to happen would have been in season 3 or 4, and in season 4 we don't get Angel anymore. I mean, they do have like one conversation in season 4 when Angel shows up to like save Buffy. And he's like, are you here to see Buffy? And he's like, aren't I always? And that's like the whole conversation, basically.
That's all they need, really.
I wish they did though, because neither of them really talk, so seeing them discuss things with each other would have been great. But Angelus is a lot of fun. Angelus talks a lot. Angelus is like really expressive, and he drops in a lot of lines where you're like, I don't want to laugh at that because you're being a horrible person. Like, he laughs at Spike in the wheelchair all the time.
All the time.
He makes so many like rolling puns and wheelchair puns, and you're like, you can't say these things. That's gross and ableist.
Spike is just like,
I wish that wasn't so clever, because it's clever. Like it's the thing where like you almost want to laugh at the cleverness, but then you realize that it's a horrible thing to say to somebody, and you don't want to like perpetuate.
Angelus versus Buffy is a really interesting dynamic, because he knows everything about her. And if he hadn't been Angel before, that's like completely an Angelus thing to do, would be to like get to know her and then use all of her
information like against her. Like, that's a thing
while
about
making
Angelus,
her insane.
where he's like obsessive. He becomes like obsessed with his victims. He
goes to Buffy's house, and he's like, oh, you remember me, right? Buffy and I, we have to be together, mom. and maybe you should.
Because all that Buffy's told her mom about Angel, because this is like prior to her mom knowing about the Slayer thing and the vampire thing and everything, is that Angel is an older guy who, he looks like he could be in his 20s. So Angel is an older guy who was tutoring her in school, and they kind of had an on-off relationship, and now it's totally off, and he's emotionally disturbed, and don't let him into the house. And her mom, being the mother that she is, because Joyce is just like mom stereotypes. Joyce doesn't get any character development in season 2. Not really.
She's incapable.
of character development.
It's just
Because they don't give her
Joyce.
a real character. She's just mom tropes.
She's just mom tropes. One after the other. She's just, I don't know what the trope would be called, but she's stupidly protective. She's the one that goes, she finds out Buffy's her slayer, and she's like, oh, well, maybe you should stop, or you can't, or, oh, I don't know, can I help her? And it's just like,
no, mom.
No,
mom. I'm a warrior for the cause against evil. What are you gonna do? Like bake cookies? Stop.
Can't.
Don't.
I appreciate
Joyce is just like completely useless a lot when it comes to the whole Slayer thing, and it's just so Angelus comes over to Buffy's house. He sees Joyce. Joyce is the only one there. She's trying to bring her groceries into the house, and he starts grabbing her and talking to her and being really disturbing and saying things that sound like an abusive stalker ex-boyfriend. It's like he doesn't say things like he's an evil demon. He says things like he's abusive and a stalker and like a really emotionally manipulative boyfriend. That's what he sounds like, and it's disturbing because that's all she knows about him at this point. And that's exactly how he plays it.
I think it's weird because he's not. I'll explain it. He isn't trying. He's trying to stir up trouble with Buffy's mom. He isn't necessarily trying to go. Like, if it turns out that he is just unwell or whatever. So, the screen can see.
You fell asleep. You guys can't tell, but we fell asleep. That's why there might be different framing and stuff.
Yeah.
So starting from where we left off, Angel being a super creep.
Yeah.
To Joyce.
What I was thinking about it is that it seems like he was intentionally being a creep. Because he could have, considering that Angelus is like a master manipulator, he really could have portrayed that better. Where, he only sounded like a creep. Like he didn't sound like he was just concerned, and it's not that simple. That's not.
He knows how to deceive people. Like, Angelus can play good guy. It's been seen before, and you see it again later with him. So, it's not like he couldn't have acted like, Joyce, I'm worried about Buffy. She's lying about people. She's avoiding everybody. She's trying to manipulate people. Like, I watch out for certain signs of things she's doing and stuff like that. Like, he could have turned Joyce against her.
I think
instead he decides to play creepy stuff.
I think the problem is that he's having too much fun with being able to make people feel horrible again.
Yeah.
And so, he does that with Joyce, and he's letting it slip that they had sex, and he's making sure to just do all the things that would make her feel really unsure about why you're still with this guy, with the fucking Buffy. And then Buffy and Willow end up having to let him uninvite him to the house magically, which was great. That was really cool.
I like how they did that, the way that they set that up. Because she waits until the perfect moment. Like, he's right there at the door.
I had no idea that was possible, and I was wondering what would you do with that. And I think they made a comment about it first. Like, they were just like, well, we need to uninvite him or something like that. And I was like, Buffy, you're being silly. Uninviting, that's not a thing. Until it turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And I like that a lot.
Uninviting is a thing. It's a thing that they can do. It's really interesting sometimes. So there's stuff like that where they just turn it around on you. It's just like, no, we can totally do that.
Yeah.
Like, you would think love spells aren't a thing.
giving him his soul back.